To the other news, the head of the Independent Association of Businessmen Talgat Akulov is accused of apartment fraud. The supposed victim claims that she is being pressed to pay off her debts by selling her apartment, which the woman actually no longer owns.
Marjan Sarkulova was left without her apartment in any means because of her trustfulness towards Talgat Akulov, the president of the Independent Association of Businessmen, who gave her a loan of $25,000 3 years ago. According to Marjan, she was introduced to the entrepreneur by some Nursaulia Kairjanova. The latter also acted as a guarantor and thus took the money, promising the quick profits. The woman soon disappeared, and now Marjan has to pay back the debt. I borrowed money and sold my apartment, and now I have to rent a place. I gave a half of the borrowed money to Talgat Akulov and covered the debt. The woman does not deny her debt commitments, but is not able to return even a part of the money. Although the court has also confirmed that after Sarkulova returned $4,000 to Talgat Akulov, she continued depositing monthly payments of $800. Later it was found that the account details were false, while Sarkulova is now demanded to recognize the sale of her apartment illegal.
Court officer does nothing to transfer the money to Akulov, who was also aware that the money did arrive.
Talgat Akulov has a different view, saying that he never loaned money to anyone. He acted as a guarantor then and acts as a plaintiff now, in order to save his reputation.
Why would I be interested in some personal problems with apartments? I'm in no way linked to some misunderstandings and failed deals with businessmen. I should not be dragged into this at all.
On February 28th, Marjan Sarkulova received a court decision to decline the launching of a criminal case against her. Previously, the plaintiff demanded to bring the woman to justice. For the first time in 3 years of litigation, Marjan finally has some hope.
Another public figure can be perceived differently now. During the meeting of the discussion club Ait Park, the guest speaker Mukhtar Tayjan expressed his full support to the national patriot Mukhtar Shakhanov, which caused a storm of criticism from the audience.
So far, I trust Mukhtar Shakhanov. I am involved in the independence movement organized by the fund, and I will contribute to it as long as I trust this man. Tayjan views Shakhanov as the only model authority. This, of course, was met with criticism. The president of the Transparency Kazakhstan, Vitaly Voronov, said that he came to the meeting to question the authority of the national patriot. In the 90s, he and Mukhtar Shakhanov were deputies of the Supreme Council of the legendary 12th Convocation. Voronov recalled cases when the poet, in his opinion, behaved very non-patriotically. Once I raised the issue of renaming the country after the collapse of the USSR, Kazakhstan was called Kazakh Soviet Socialistic Republic back then. I proposed to get rid of the terms Soviet and Socialistic and leave the name at Kazakh Republic, as it's simply logical. Do you think Shakhanov supported me? No, he looked at me as I was a fool.
Meanwhile, journalists and human rights activists are choosing the most deserving among officials. For that reason, they organized a competition, the results of which will award civil servants who are the hardest to get information from.
Giving way to journalists. This is the title of a peculiar contest to be held in Almaty. In the next 2 months, its organizers will be selecting officials who are less forthcoming when the time comes for reporters to obtain some information. The Journalist Union and Adil Sos Foundation, which came up with the award, believes that civil servants in Kazakhstan are close to the media, which actually violates the constitution. Judging by the results of our monthly monitoring, we have counted an average of 10 cases of refusals to provide information to journalists, which is an impressive number. At the same time, it can be easily multiplied by as much as 7, because only a few people talk about such cases openly. The competition is timed to the Freedom of World Press Day held on May 3rd. It is not the first collective protest of human rights defenders and journalists. In the past 3 years, they also held cartoon contests dedicated to the freedom of speech. However, chairman of the Journalist Union, Sid Kazim Ataev, considers the new event to be the most important so far, as he is sure that there will be plenty of nominees.
How will the officials react? Well, as soon as we'll know the names of candidates and nominees, we will try to invite them over. But if they do not come, we'll hold a meeting in the Journalists' Union in any case. We'll be operating with facts.
The winners will be awarded on May 3rd. Some of the nominations include the Minister of Mysteries and the Untouchable Person. The most reluctant to speak officials will receive prizes in the form of pottery and certificates.
On March 3rd, a very real honorary award was presented to the Kazakh writer Harold Belger for his service to the Federal Republic of Germany. Belger received it from the ambassador of Germany, Rainer Schlageter, in Astana.
Parents of Harold Belger wrote a portrait to Kazakhstan in 1941. The future writer graduated from a high school and then the philological department of Abay's Kazakh Pedagogical Institute. He proceeded to teach at universities and translate from German to Kazakh and Russian. Eventually, he became known for his books and publications about the deportation history of the Volga Germans to Central Asia, as well as an essay Goethe and Abay, where he compared philosophers' works.
Relations between Kazakhstan and Europe expand beyond culture. President Nursultan Nazarbayev instructed the government to set up a new oil pipeline project. According to the plan, oil should be freely transported from the Caspian to the Black Sea. The initiative was voiced during the meeting with his Romanian colleague Traian Basescu on March 3rd.
The 1,500 kilometers pipeline will be linked to the pan-European oil pipeline Constanta-Trieste. It will enable the delivery of crude oil from the Caspian states Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan to Central and Western Europe, bypassing the Bosporus, where oil tankers waste a lot of time waiting for their turn to pass through the extremely busy channel. The construction cost is estimated at $3.5 billion. The branch is expected to have the maximum output of up to 90 million tons of crude oil annually, and the construction to be over no sooner than 2011.
These were all the latest updates from Kazakhstan. Thank you for being with us and goodbye.